All right, Hernandez Govan, how's it going?
Man, it's going good, brother.
Glad to finally have you on Camp Capone News.
Man, most definitely. Glad to be here, Cam. You know, we've been trying to link for a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do it, man.
For sure.
Well, I'm gonna get right into it, man. You know, not too long ago, you broke the news that Pooh Shiesty robbed Gucci Mane. Now, this news came out. A lot of people didn't believe it. A lot of people didn't believe Gucci Mane could get robbed and that he wouldn't crash out if he got robbed.
Yeah, I guess they thought he was a superhero.
They definitely, I think a lot of people are really heartbroken over this.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons, a few different reasons. Okay, but I'm just gonna start with the incident itself. You know, what have you heard about the incident and how did things go down?
I just say it was more to it than Big Scar. It was some contract shit going on. You know, Atlantic just gave Shiesty $5 million for publishing deal, and so they was trying to do another deal on the side with some type of branding, and Gucci was still involved in the deal, and Shiesty didn't want no parts of it, and so that was part of the reason they met up to talk and try to, you know what I'm saying, work some little things out or whatever. But Gucci was fully expecting it to get worked out. That's why he brought the cameraman and a couple more other people with him, because he thought they was about to have a nice time. But that nice time turned into him shaking like a stripper on Judgment Day.
Yeah, so from what I understand, Pooh Shiesty asked him to kind of step away from everybody and go into the booth?
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely asked him, pulled him to the side, pulled him away from the retired police officer and get him out of his view or whatever. And once that happened, and you know, allegedly they went to work and do what Memphis people do.
What the police are alleging is that Pooh Shiesty asked him for his bag. Yeah. He got his bag.
Bag, watch, ring. He signed some release papers under duress, and you know, so it went on for quite some time. It went on for about 45 minutes. The whole situation.
45 minutes, sheesh, man. That's a crazy amount of time, man. They got him in the booth. I guess you know, Gucci Man is like saying, you know, that this.
Yeah, you know, after, you know what I'm saying, when it started to unravel or whatever, you know, he looked up, you know, from what I was told from someone that was there. And he just looked up and said, man, you know, this ain't how this go. We still gotta go to the lawyers. And that's when somebody in there told him to shut his bitch ass up for a nigga shoot him on GP. And so, you know, he got some act right real quick. You know, Gucci, he was very cooperative. He wasn't like the Gucci Man on the songs. Yeah, he was more of a deacon when this happened. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you got the Draco to your head.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you supposed to, you know what I'm saying, you know, you're gonna follow the instructions, but you know, you still supposed to keep your pride though. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, Gucci was on Gucci next move was shedding tears. You know, so it was crazy, you know what I'm saying? But he should have been more prepared, pulling up like that, knowing that it was an issue. I was surprised, I was shocked. You know, that ain't how real street move, you know, when you know it's an issue and you know you're going to talk to somebody about something, you know, you're supposed to pull up right. And if he would have pulled up right and properly prepared, like, there's no way that could have happened. They would have had to assess the situation and he'll still have his belongings and nobody would have got robbed if he would have been moving how he say on those songs, all those thousands of songs and shit that he made. I guess that shit was just some action figure songs or something, because he don't roll like that. Gucci ain't a gangster at all.
One of the things that I was, you know, pretty surprised at is they were saying the Big 30 held the door closed so the security couldn't get in.
Held the door closed so the security couldn't get in, or
the off-duty police.
Yeah. Or so,
you know.
or for somebody, you know, somebody may have been trying to get out.
Oh,
as well, you know, and
well, that too.
yeah,
Okay,
you know what I'm saying,
right.
and yeah, they said a third ball was standing by the door, you know, 30 kind of big and wide, you know what I'm saying, yeah, 30 got a little size on them, so they the right person was on the door.
Yeah, man. I mean, the whole situation. I mean, I guess even the cameraman. They're showing
Yeah,
pictures
yeah,
of the
yeah, 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 yeah,
cameraman
yeah. The
that got
cameraman,
beat
yeah,
up.
yeah, the white guy,
Wow.
yeah, white guy. He got beat up, you know, and got robbed of his positions. And it was I heard from a valid source that recently, prior to the indictment, someone tried to return the white guy's belongings to him, and he said no, he didn't want them. And me, if that was me, and he sent me that message back, I would have had a one-way ticket to Honolulu, some motherfucker where, you know, because they should have knew when he told him he didn't want his belongings back that the indictment was on the way.
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a fact. There ain't no reason why he wouldn't want his stuff back.
Exactly. There ain't number one reason why. Yeah, for sure. And the federal government probably told him, you know, don't communicate, don't do no type of dealings or business, you know, with those people whatsoever. So, you know, and I've been hearing, you know, the last day or two that things trying to get worked out. Atlantic, the record company, they done stepped in, and they trying to work things out. You know, they Pooh is the biggest artist that they have over there, especially rap. So and they know why Pooh was upset. You know, he was while he was incarcerated. I think Gucci made about anywhere from 15 to 20 million, you know, off of him, and then for Pooh to come home and for you to be screaming like you broke and you ain't get a man none when he came home, you know, all of that played a part. You know, I don't know what's going on with Gucci, you know, well, I kind of do know what's going on with him, you know, the medicine and shit. I think that's affecting his thought process and the way he moved, you know. I don't know if he be missing doses of his medication or what, but this ain't the same Gucci from back in the day. You know, I'm starting to believe the clone shit now.
Okay, so they're saying Gucci Mane made 24. I think his mom came out, right?
I heard
She came out and said some stuff too.
I heard Gladys came out and said that, you know, I know Gladys personally, so I haven't spoke with her about this, especially haven't spoke with her at all. But I could see her coming out and saying it because she's a very outspoken person. So if she did come out and say that, then it just backs up, you know, what I just said. You know, I heard it from a very valid source that he was upset about that, you know, and if that's damn good reason to be upset, you know, for somebody to, you know, make that amount of money off of you when you're incarcerated and don't give you a wood nickel of it. So, you know, again, I don't know. I know Keisha, you know, she played a major role over there with that label. So maybe it's her that's pulling the strings and doing all this weird shit, because the shit that's been going on lately, this ain't the same WAP from back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money to just keep, and especially dudes in jail. I can understand, you know, it's one thing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's never good to keep nobody's money.
Yeah.
But it's one thing if I'm out and I'm moving around.
Yeah.
But it's another if I'm in jail and you ain't paying me my money, bro. That's like the snake of the snake move there.
That's just ultimate disrespect, because you know when in jail, you know, you can't fend for yourself for the most part. You know, you know, it's hard to take care of yourself from jail unless you went in there with a bankroll. So for him to, you know, act like that, you know, about the financial part and also about Pooh Cuz and Big Scar, you know, I just think that was the deal breaker, and you know, and that's what made the situation unfold how it unfolded or whatever. You know, he should have known not to do no weird shit like that with no from Memphis.
So what all happened with the Big Scar situation?
Well, you know, Big Scar, you know, unfortunately, he mistakenly overdosed, and when he overdosed, the first call between his family and Gucci went like Gucci asking for the chains back, the 1017 chains back, not showing any concern about getting Scar, a decent burial or funeral. He was just concerned about the chains. And then, when they reached back out to him for some money for the funeral, he said that Keisha's birthday was coming up. And that was just very disrespectful right there. For you to be worth supposedly $100 million, $200 million, and for you to tell this family that your wife's birthday coming up, basically saying that that's the reason why you can't help out with the funeral. I think that was just the last straw right there. I know it would have been for me.
Yeah, man, like you're Gucci Mane.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
You got the money to take care of your wife's birthday and pay for the funeral.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
For sure. That's drop in the bucket. That's not even money to him.
Exactly. And so I'm gonna put myself in Gucci's situation. Let's just say if my wife's birthday was coming up and I was Gucci and I had one of my top artists to unfortunately OD. If I had to make a decision, I'm gonna put my artist away decent before my wife's birthday. She gonna have some more birthdays. If I sign somebody, if I had a label, I'm not gonna sign no one that I don't have a bond with, someone that I don't consider family. And so with that being said, her birthday would have had to wait. If one of my closest friends, one of my artists die, we gotta make sure they get taken care of before some stupid ass birthday.
Man, I hear that, man. Now you were saying that there was a deal that Pooh Shiesty had on the table for $5 million?
Well, he just got $5 million they gave me that for the publishing deal. And he had another deal that they was about trying to work out, some type of branding deal. But Atlantic had included Gucci in the deal, and Shiesty didn't agree with it. So that was part of the conversation, part of the meeting. They was gonna have that conversation supposedly at that meeting, but things went different. Other people had other plans.
Okay, now, from what it looks like to me, is that the cops were called the second Pooh Shiesty left the studio.
Yeah, I could go with that, and a lot of people, they disagree because the charges, it took a couple months for them to materialize, but how the feds work, let's just go with that theory that they were called immediately. They're not gonna move on something that serious that quick. I'm sure they tapped everybody's phones after that and probably tried to see if they could get some audio within those couple of months, and hopefully they didn't. And when they realized that they couldn't get no audio, then that's when they came with the indictment.
Or looking for something bigger too, possibly.
Yeah, or looking for something bigger. So with that being said, and the feds, they move how they move, and they move when they want to move, and they decided to come and make that arrest on April Fool's Day. It wasn't no coincidence. That was strategic. The feds play games. They name a lot of their operations after, when they going to get a group of people. It might be Operation Hand Me Down, or just some goofy shit, something that's related to the actual group that they taking down. So for them to come on April Fool's Day, it was basically a low blow, letting them know that this ain't no joke. This ain't no April Fool's. This shit real. So, they could have picked any day to come besides April 1st.
They do that. I remember when they indicted Big U, his name is Draws.
Yeah. Operation, Big Draws or something, right?
Draws Down.
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah,
the name of it.
So
they do that.
Yeah, they play games.
Like I've seen them give, they give dude like, the amount of years of the street he's from.
Correct. Yeah, do shit like that. Yeah, they do shit like that. So and a lot of people thought by it happened on April 1st that it was an April Fool's joke. I knew it wasn't no joke, because I was actually in Memphis at the time when it happened, and Jeremy Pierre, he's a known a news journalist from our city, and he was standing out there covering it the whole morning. So I knew it wasn't no April Fool's joke. When everybody was online calling it cap or whatever, I was just sit back, just shaking my head, just saying, bless they heart.
Now, you mentioned that Gucci wasn't moving right.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, man, he had an off-duty cop with him. He had a friend with him. I mean, I guess he didn't have no homies with him.
Yeah, I
None
mean,
of his street dudes with him.
he had one dude with him. He had a dude named DP with him. He got robbed and shit too. They took everything DP had. And but yeah, when I say move right, you know, you got one off-duty cop with you. From what I hear, he been retired for a few years now. So I don't know if he getting Social Security or what, but ain't no way I would have had no old ass officer down there with me and just him to protect me and going to meet some they call themselves chopper gang. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some shit just don't make no sense. And you know, and you ain't seen him since he been out of prison. So he should have known. Like, they let you know that Gucci on some type of strong medication. Because if you don't see your number one artist, your top artist, when he first gets out of prison and the conversations are to a minimum, he should have known that it was something there, you know, because when you just think about when other artists get out, they see their CEOs on the first day. Most of the time, the CEOs are there at the release gate when they release them, when they let them out of prison. And none of that was going on. And then, you know, on top of that, I think the actual slap in the face was when he gave Shiesty Yo Gotti a shout out on the FDO song, you know. And so that was basically him letting Gucci know then, right then. That, you know what I'm saying, that shit over with. So I know it wouldn't have, you know, I would have been able to peep it, been able to see it. So, you know, that goes back to either Gucci he's not a real street, or his medication that's being given to him by his wife is affecting his train of thought.
Yeah, I seen you blaming his wife. I mean, because, you know, people saying Gucci can never be robbed, bro. Like, there was a lot of people in a lot of denial, man.
Yeah. I don't know. And, you know, and those people who say that, they just internet goofies, you know, because anybody could get robbed. You know, if you get caught with your pants down at the right time, you know, slippers goes. So, you know, anybody can get robbed, but it's about what you do after the robbery. You know, they hold the weight, you know, and determine the telltale of the story. You know, and like I said, anybody can get robbed. Just because you get robbed don't make you a bitch ass. But it's about what you do after the robbery. If you go and get your lick back, you know, you don't have to do it immediately. You know, ain't no time limit on the get back. You know, sometimes things have to be planned strategically, and that's how I do things. So the get back wouldn't have been immediate. You know, you have to plan stuff right, and it goes back to this situation here. You know, from what the news said this morning, if what the news said is true, then people got problems. You know, they said that Pooh Shiesty dad is on video going to Kinko's to actually print the release form off that they made Gucci Mane sign. So, you know,
that's gonna show premeditation.
Exactly. You know, that's conspiracy and all of that. So, you know, when they say for an agent to get on the stand and say they don't have any physical evidence, they don't need it. You know, conspiracy laws and federal system are different from the state. You know, they have so many ways to get you and trap you. So that alone right there is premeditated, like you said, and it's an element in the conspiracy. So, you know, I'll shout out to them, man. I wish them boys the best, but it's gonna be rough going against that federal government. These not gonna be no state prosecutors. And if you notice, Cam, you know, at these press conferences that's been going on, you ain't been seeing no prosecutors. You've been seeing the Department of Justice, DOJ. Yeah, that's a whole different animal. When the DOJ come and get involved, normally you have a Chinese name at the end, one gone. So, you know, I ain't seen a nigga beat the DOJ yet. Nobody but John Gotti. Shit, he been dead since Malcolm X. So, hey, I wish them boys the best. You know, they from the city. I don't want to see them locked up, even though they did some goofy shit, some weird shit, allegedly. But ain't no way. And I'm more disappointed. I'm disappointed in Lantrell, you know, and Pooh Shiesty daddy. And I say that to say because, you know, Lantrell been around the block, you know, a few times. He well respected in the city. You know, up until as of late, I hadn't heard anything negative about him, about his name. You know, some paperwork and shit just came out the other day that the exposers, shout out to my boy Wack, Ghost Los One on Instagram, and Prince. They dropped some real work and said that Pooh Shiesty dad had been an informant since 2009. And I was surprised, I was shocked, because like I said, he a very reputable guy and he run with some reputable dudes. And I didn't think that, you know, that those dudes ran with rats, but it ain't my business. That's above my pay grade. You know, I ain't in their clique, I ain't in their circle, so it is what it is.
Right. So what they're accusing the dad of, from 2008. I mean, I guess the paperwork just says that he agreed to give him information about other people.
Yeah, and they say he received a 5K1.
Right.
Yeah, so you know, if that's in the paperwork, then you know.
So for the people who don't know that ain't never been to the feds, what's a 5K1?
5K1's cooperation. You know, that's what they title it. That's the name of it in the federal system. You know, for you to get a downward departure for cooperation, that's what they call it, 5K1. Not 401K, but 5K1.
I wanted to touch on something, and it just came out, and everybody's kind of celebrating this, and you kind of touched on it, but I want to touch on it a little bit more. And they're saying that Pooh Shiesty's lawyer, or one of their lawyers, asked the
DA agent.
The DA, you know, do you have any do you have them on camera doing it? And they was like, no. But I'm like, you got witnesses. There was no Tory Lanez wasn't on camera.
Exactly.
He's still doing 10 years. I was like, when you got witnesses and you got like 4 or 5 witnesses, bro, that you don't need to be on camera.
I'm gonna tell you something. So, like, and you're right, they don't have to have it on camera. I mean, a lot of people that's holding on to the false hope and things like that, you know, I think a lot of them are super fans, and the other half probably ain't never had a speeding ticket before, because they don't need the video. They got the white guy, the cameraman. They got the black, the police officer, and not to mention, it's 8 people charged on that case, if I'm not mistaken. And Cam, when the last time you seen 8 people charged on a case and everybody keep it real?
That's another possibility too.
No, that ain't a possibility. That's gonna be a fact. Trust me. Out of 8 people, at least 2 gonna tell. Everybody ain't gonna keep it real. So with that being said, you got the witnesses, and I hope his homies don't tell, but for the most part, the track record, you know, in the federal system, you know, somebody gonna tell. And if that proves to be true, then he gonna have a whole nother problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different, there ain't no getting out of that one.
Yeah, that's a whole,
if one of his people turned, I mean, that's...
And how do you explain your daddy on camera, on video, printing out a release form for Gucci Mane to sign? And like, you know, I just don't, you know, and I mean, I just seen right before we started the interview, I just seen Big 30 got granted bond. They gave 30 a $100,000 bond, and I think 30 deserve a bond, you know, from what they are accusing him of, saying he only held the door or whatever. And if he just stood by the door or whatever, you know, he could have been leaning on the door because he was tired, you know. So he deserve a bond. You know, I'm glad he out. You know, he got a $100,000 bond. They say he home. So, you know, shout out to 30. I hope they be all right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the one they really want is Pooh Shiesty. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
He just came home. He did what, like 4 or 5 years.
He's
on federal probation.
Yeah, and you know, and that's what I ain't understand, Cam. You know, it's like it couldn't have been thought out. Like, and again, I'm disappointed in the father. Like, how do you let your son do all of this with an ankle monitor on? You know, and I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and it made sense. Matter of fact, I was talking to Wack. It was me and Wack. And Wack was just like, you know, and it made sense. For him not to step up and put Pooh in check and kind of bring Pooh back to reality leads people to believe that he couldn't control his son. He was in fear of speaking up, thinking that Pooh would probably cut him off financially. You know, I'm sure he wasn't afraid of Pooh doing anything to him physically, but he probably didn't want to get cut off financially. From what I hear, Lontrell been doing good his own self. You know, doing real estate and things like that. But to have a son, and your son, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, rappers in the game at this moment, you're not gonna want to do anything to kind of get detached from that situation. So I think this played a major part in him not speaking up and telling his son, "Hey, look, bro, you tripping, man. We finna fuck some generational wealth out here. Like, bro, you got a chance to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and his kids, the kids, grandkids could have been taken care of. And all of that is potentially gone because of acted off some stupid ass emotions. You can't handle business in the streets, and somebody, that's why I said, man, it ain't good to have a lot of yes men around you. That's why I don't like yes men around me. I like, if you see me doing some goofy shit, some weird shit, some flaw shit, man, speak up and tell me. I'm gonna respect it. I don't want nobody around me that's gonna agree with me 24/7, because I ain't always right. I might get high and do some dumb, finna get ready to do some dumb shit. I want to with me and be like, man, you tripping? What's up with you? Them the type of dudes I like around me, firm. I don't want nobody that's gonna let me take them to the grave. No, I don't want no like that around me.
I hear that. I mean, yeah, they are calling Pooh Shiesty a crash out, and that this is the stupidest crime ever. I mean, he had an ankle monitor. Some of it was recorded. They recorded him signing it, but apparently there's no guns or nothing in this video, according to the police. They say he just got off the phone with his parole officer, and they were telling him that he doesn't have permission to move.
They said he was arguing. The PO said they had got into an argument about him being out at that time, or being out later than what he was supposed to be out or whatever. And from what they trying to say, and they speculating that he was arguing with his PO to stay out to rob Gucci Mane. That's what they saying online or whatever. If that is true, then yeah, this probably go down as one of the most dumbest crimes in the United States. You know what I'm saying? For you, the ankle monitor though. I mean, I know he young, but he had to have somebody around him with enough sense to tell him how much, how important or how detrimental that ankle monitor could be to what they had going on. You just don't. Man, when I had my ankle monitors on, Cam, man, I used to be so scared of them motherfuckers. When I'm talking some illegal business, I lean over and I whisper to one of my partners, because I used to be scared that the ankle monitor could hear me. You know what I'm saying? Let alone talking about finna go lay a motherfucker down and strip him with the ankle monitor on. I ain't that tough. My nuts ain't that big.
Man, I don't. It's kind of hard to imagine.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your mind around. You gotta have some. You gotta have some big ass cojones, boy, to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know some of the craziest walking, and they ain't finna go do no shit like that with no ankle monitor on.
You just basically might as well just be turning yourself in.
Exactly, for sure.
Police.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You throwing rocks at the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? Or you must have Pooh must have he must have a female officer back there that he was fucking or something that he trying to go see or something, because ain't no way, man. Ain't no way, and yeah, man, I hate it for him because the young had it, and he had everything right there in his lap, but he did that shit, I don't know if that verse that he wrote, I don't know if that shit got to his head when he said, don't let dirt verse go to your head, ain't nobody slime as me, so I don't know if he wanted to prove this shit to the whole world or whatever, because, Dirk pride himself on being, the slimiest or whatever, but Shiesty said that ain't true. Shiesty said he is, so I guess he wanted to show the world.
Damn. So you're talking about where he says, in their song they did together, he says...
this in it, I think that's in the FDO.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Don't let that dirt verse go to your head. Ain't nobody slime as me. On the
Right.
one.
Well, the verse he was talking about though was from the
Yeah. He was talking about the verse from the Back in Blood.
Right, where he says, "Pooh, you know I'm really shiesty."
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
You know, it kind of sounded like they were, because at the beginning, where Pooh Shiesty says we already had 300 shots up in the car.
Yeah.
So I was like,
before we picked up Dirk.
Right, before we picked up Dirk, it was like, okay, it wasn't I don't think it was a diss.
No, it wasn't a diss. It wasn't a diss.
It kind of sounded like, you know, like he's
it was basically,
he's up in Dirk. He's one upping him.
Yeah. So when he said he had 300 shots in the car when he picked up Dirk, you know, Dirk 300. You know, that's what he claimed, 300. You know, he got the rings and shit, you know, or whatever. And it was basically just a metaphor, you know, because Dirk done said that he ride around with 300 shots. So Pooh was just saying they had 300 in the car before they picked up Dirk, because you know Dirk gonna have 300. So yeah, that's all. It wasn't a diss. People took that and kind of ran with it or whatever, and they even thought what he said in the FDO was a diss, but it wasn't. You know, he and fuck with Dirk. He when he got out, that was one of the first things he did was reach out to India and look out for Smirk.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, for sure. In that aspect, he a real one, you know, because he did that, and you know, he's just loyal. You know, he came home on fuck NBA young boy, you know, on that type of time, fuck 4K trade. And that was just based off of his loyalty from Dirk. And I get it, you know, because that's how I am. You know, if somebody helped me or reach out and help me put food on my table, then I'm gonna be loyal to him too. I'll let the barrel milk for him. So, you know, I respect his loyalty to Dirk in that sense that Dirk helped him, you know, with that song Back in Blood.
Yeah, that song was crazy, man. That song definitely went crazy.
Yeah, for sure. For the people who didn't know Pooh before that song, they knew him when that song came out.
Well, they're saying Pooh was like he was one of the last young street star rappers that hip hop has seen in a long time. You know, he had the potential to make like at least 10 million this summer just touring.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, he was gone. Yeah, once he got out that monitor and all of that shit, he was about to get to it. So, you know, that's why. And if he would have checked, you know, the track record of Gucci, I think he would have made another decision. Because if you think about it, Cam, just think about the people that were signed to Gucci back in the day. You got Nicki Minaj, you got Waka Flocka, who else you had? Young Thug. He let all these people out the contract. You know, when shit got disgruntled and people wanted out, he ain't hold nobody hostage. He let them go. So if Pooh would have went to him the right way, even if he didn't just let you go, I'm sure he would have been willing to work something out number-wise where you could have got up out the deal and still have your freedom.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I mean, yeah, because he did all this, and from what I understand, he's still signed to 1017.
Yeah, he's still signed because you can't make nobody sign something under duress. You know, it won't hold up in nobody's court. You know, and I don't know if they was banking on Gucci Mane's reputation and his track record to keep charges from being filed or whatever. I guess they thought Gucci, you know, was so street and so gangster. This WAP we talking about here. I'm thinking they felt like the police could never get involved because WAP would never do that. But this not the same Gucci that we talking about from back in the day. We talking about a Gucci man that takes psych meds in the morning and at night. We talking about the Gucci man that got a caretaker as his wife. We talking about the Gucci man that you ain't heard him have a conversation or heard him hold a conversation in years. You know, all he do is bobble his head up and down. No, you know, so with that being said, we ain't dealing with the same Gucci, so you know you can't expect them same results. And it showed you in black and white when the paperwork came out. You know, he actually identified 30 and Pooh.
Yes, the paperwork dropped, and yeah, it showed that. And I mean, everybody was really, really surprised, man.
Yeah.
You know, because there's videos of Gucci going viral now. Like,
Yeah,
I'll never snitch.
I never snitch. I ain't never told, and you know, and he used to be hard on Jeezy, saying Jeezy slick told and all of this, and you turn around. I ain't never seen Jeezy name in black and white on no paperwork pointing nobody out, ever.
Right.
You know, so with that being said, you know, I'm still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because, you know, if you go look at that Breakfast Club interview, his life being ran by his wife. So I'm sure she wanted to see the people that was allegedly involved. I'm sure she wanted to see them in prison. So I think, you know, she probably played a major role in that as well.
You know, what really trips me out about these situations is like, Gucci really didn't even need to snitch. He could have just walked right out, and when the police knocked on his door some days later, he could have just been like, I don't know, I forget. And they was all gonna snitch, and all the rest of those people were civilians, off-duty cop.
Yeah.
He gotta report it, or he gonna get in
real trouble.
Or he gonna
get in trouble. Yeah, he gonna get in trouble, you know. So
you know what I'm saying? So he didn't even need to snitch.
Nah.
He threw his everything away for really nothing.
For nothing, yeah. All you had to do was say, man, look, y'all talk to my lawyer. That's all he had to say. That's all he had to say.
That's it.
It's just that simple. Y'all talk to my lawyer. But again, you know, I think his wife, she the way she talked, I'm sure when the feds came, she answered the door. You know, because she run the show. And I'm sure she let him in. I'm sure she don't want her husband being involved in no street shit anymore at this point. So she probably let him in and probably said, babe, the police here. They want to talk to you. You know, and because that's how their relationship goes. It's like she wear the pants over there. So I could see that playing out like that, and she might have intentionally didn't give him his meds that morning, or did give him his meds to make him cooperate. But the old Gucci, the old WAP, I just can't see him doing what he just did the other day.
And you know, they have a detailed account of what happened in the booth. So it's kind of like, how'd they get that detailed account? Because it was only Gucci and them.
Exactly.
From what I understand, the cameraman wasn't in there. His friend wasn't in there.
Mm-mm.
The off-duty cop wasn't in there. It was Gucci, Pooh, and maybe, you know, somebody else with Pooh.
Exactly. So how do Pooh didn't tell it.
Right.
His homie didn't tell it. So, you know, that had to come from Gucci, you know. And they already said they don't have no video from inside. So that had to come from Gucci. And, you know, how do you explain that, you know? So it's crazy.
Yes, so you're blaming everything. Well, I don't know if you're blaming everything, but a lot of this is being put on his wife, you know. You know, why do you think his wife has so much influence? And, you know, what about the wife?
I mean, if what she says is true in the interviews about his mental and, you know, him going crazy here and there and having episodes and them having to tie him up, the security team having to tie him up and get him to the hospital. If all of that is true, then yeah, you know, she says she answers his phone for him. She pays his bills. She has all the passwords to his social medias. You know, all of that. She said all of this in the Breakfast Club interview. That's why I say he has a caretaker. So that leads me to believe that she is more than likely behind his decision to cooperate. Because before it actually came out that he cooperated, I was willing to bet my Social Security number, man, WAP ain't doing no cooperating. He got too much to lose, reputation-wise, you know, in the streets. You know, he deal with some stand-up dudes, you know, I know him and Wack, got a relationship, and, you know, Wack don't tolerate, you know, Wack don't deal with that at all, you know, he got the exposures. So, with that being said, you know, that had to be her. You know, I just can't see him doing it unless, again, his mind was altered from the medication.
Yeah, it just all around seems like a bad decision. You would think even she would know, like, this is going to be bad for business.
Well, you know, she probably at a point where, you know, she she just was probably bitter and upset about what happened to her husband, and that's the only type of revenge that she could get. It's like seeing the people in jail. She ain't gonna suit up and go get the switch and grab no vest and go out there and talking about looking for chopper gangs. So that was the only thing that she could do, was try to make sure that they go to jail. So I think she played a big part in it.
Now, the big question is going to be, will Gucci really get on that stand? That's all that really matters.
I'm going to tell you right now, I just heard yesterday and today that Atlantic is actually trying to work something out right now. They done stepped in and trying to, I guess, mediate it from both sides and trying to make it where Pooh could get up out this situation and not spend the rest of his life in jail, and Gucci could be compensated as well. So that's what I'm hearing that's actively trying to get done right now. I don't know if it's gonna work, if it's gonna happen. I mean, I hope so for both sides.
Now that's what I was actually thinking, that none of these guys are being forced to testify, because it's not like the Little Dirk situation where, the other guys cooperating. If they don't cooperate, they're gonna do life.
Correct.
These guys, if they don't cooperate, it's probably no big deal. So Pooh Shiesty can really just, all these, I'm pretty sure the cameraman isn't a millionaire. And if somebody said, here's $1 million, forget what happened that day, he probably gonna be happy. So, I was thinking that he got a chance to beat this because of that.
So I'm gonna say this, and I get what you're saying about the money, but if the cameraman made his statement to the grand jury, and when it's time for the case to move forward, and I think, in my opinion, from the white guy taking the photos of his wounds when it first happened, it's obvious that he was very upset from being robbed and beat up and assaulted. I think if the feds pull up on him, the cameraman, and threaten him with perjury, I don't think it's no amount of money that would keep the cameraman from getting on the stand and testifying. I don't think that cameraman, if I got to bet, he probably ain't never did a day in jail and don't want to. And so with that being said, I think he would value his freedom over some money as it relates to this case.
Well, what if he does like Woody and just gets up there and, just starts acting a fool?
Yeah. Well, the difference between the cameraman and Woody been a rat. He been a rat since Thug and them was sending them to the store and had them stealing, breaking in cars and shit. We got the paperwork on that as well. So he actually told before the YSL case. So him getting on the stand saying, I don't recall, there was just some goofy, weird shit he was trying to save face with, but and trying to, I guess, act like he wasn't already an informant. But when we get off here, I'll send you the paperwork. Woody was an informant before that case.
Right. I would like to see it, but he could
get up there and say that, but again, that's where the perjury comes in at, and I just don't think he would risk it. I know the police officer's gonna get up there and tell what he's seen. I don't know if he's seen the actual Gucci actually.
So you don't think the cop can be paid off? You don't think if they was like, yo, bro, we got this $1 million?
No, if that's the case, the cop wouldn't have never, if that was the plan, or if there was, if they had been worked out, the cop wouldn't have never went to the police in the beginning. That cop has a family, a wife, kids, all of that. And I think he's gonna put them before any amount of money, And I don't even know who got enough nuts to even go and try to give him a bribe at this point. because that's a federal crime as well. So if you taking a chance, if you go do that and offer that to him, and what if he reported? Like he did the other situation. Now you got a whole nother can of worms, you know, so it's just, you know, it's gonna be rough, bro. You know, I'm curious to see how this thing gonna play out. Like I said, 30 just got out today. Hopefully all of them get out. You know, I ain't wishing bad on them. But it's gonna be rough when it's time to go to trial and those jurors get in their box. Because the feds, the conspiracy laws are totally different from the state. They have way more loopholes and ways to trap you in federal versus state court.
Yeah, man. The feds.
Yeah.
That's rough, bro.
Yeah,
They're tough, man.
Yeah, it's rough, you know.
And they can hide their snitches longer.
Yeah, yep.
You know, they can keep you in jail longer.
They can hide them all the way up into trial till they get to trial, you know, and it's crazy. So, you know, it's different, bro. And I don't know, man. Boy, they got some strong stomachs, I can tell you that, man, to go do some shit like that, man, you know, on federal paper and with an ankle monitor on, you know, and to go rent a car and use the same rental car is a real, you know, in the crime. So that's in your name. You know, people just don't think, man, you know, and I just hope this be a learning lesson and experience for a lot of people out there, you know. I hope there's some young guys that's out there that's living that same type of life and see this shit and be like, and just wake up, man, because, man, this shit ain't gonna do nothing but lead you to two places, man, you know, hell or jail, you know, one or the other. So, yeah, and at this point in my life, you know, I don't want no parts of none of this shit, man. You know, it's too late in the game to be getting caught up in some conspiracy, Hobbs Act, guns across state line, kidnapping, and ain't no way.
Like we said earlier, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it because it just seemed like everybody should have known there was nine of them. We're all going to jail, bro. It's gonna be really hard to get out of this one.
Yeah, and you know, don't nobody step up and say, "Hold on, bro, we doing some dumb ass shit." You know, yeah, you know, that ain't. It's just that's a disadvantage of. That's the consequences of having nothing but yes men around you and no one with enough nuts to step up and be like, hold on, bro. Let me holler at you, bro. Man, we gotta do this shit another way. So.
And then what if this was the old Gucci man? And when they put the gun to the Drake to his head, he was like, nah.
Yeah, you know,
I ain't signing it.
Yeah.
Fuck
you know,
y'all.
exactly.
Do it.
You know,
then y'all are gonna go down for murder, bro?
Yeah. So what you gonna do? Kill a man in the studio?
You're gonna kill Gucci man
in the studio?
We've seen what happens when you kill a famous rapper, bro.
Yeah.
You got the whole internet doing detective work, bro.
Man.
You got like 1 million detectives out there researching every fucking tweet, every fucking IG post, every fucking video. Man,
them people bring up shit. They be bringing up shit that you forgot you posted.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to get caught up and like that. I seen an old post today, one made in 2023 and 24, and it was Pooh Shiesty gonna rob Gucci Man when he get out, and that shit doesn't really happen. It's the materialize, you know, like it's the manifested, you know, and a lot of people was making those posts years ago. I think people that know Pooh personally and knew how he felt about the entire situation as it relates to Big Scar, his cousin, that rapped, that was signed to Gucci Man as well.
Yeah, man, it's a wild situation, man. But one thing I did see, man, is Yo Gotti was hooking up with Gucci's wife.
Yeah. He was
when Gucci was in jail.
Yeah. Gotti was fucking her while he was in jail. You know, for one, you know, Gotti said, you know, Gucci never told him that was his girl like that. You know, when you're in that type of position, you know, you got, you know, you might have 100 bitches, you know, and so especially when you that caliber of a, you know, artist or whatever. So Gotti wasn't at that time, from what he said on Breakfast Club, he didn't think that they were serious. He knew they had some type of relationship or whatever. But God, it was like when he got with Keisha, she basically told him that how serious her and Gucci was, and instead of Gucci telling them. But at that point, I think Gotti probably was a little in too deep, and he still tore her ass up.
Damn, man. I mean, from what I'm seeing, you saying that Gucci Mane made up with a lot of people, but not Yo Gotti. So he took this personal.
Yeah, and and which I think is weird, because how you get mad at your homie, but you don't get mad at the bitch. I don't understand that. If that was me, I would have been upset with both parties. Considering now, if it was just a dude, a random dude that I didn't know that bagged my girl, then I ain't gonna have no issue with him. But if you supposed to be my dog, like my brother, if I with you, we get money together, and you my girl while I'm in prison, then yeah, both of y'all out of here. Not like on no murder shit, but I'm through with both of y'all. I ain't gonna quit with my homie and then go marry the bitch. That's the most goofiest shit I think in the world. Like, how can you cut the dude off but not cut the broad off? I don't get that. Again, it goes back to might be him taking medicine.
So Yo Gotti and Gucci were friends at one time then.
Yeah, they was super tight. Yeah, for sure.
And then I heard somebody saying that Gucci was signing Memphis rappers just to kind of like poke at Yo Gotti.
Yeah. I mean, he was signing that he hadn't even never, heard their mixtape before. He may have heard a song, and he just was doing it, just to antagonize, Gotti, just trying to sign up, trying to sign all the CMG ops, I would guess, so to speak, and just signing them. Just out of pure hatred, just being a sucker, just being a goofy. Never put the people out, never put their music out, and you end up releasing them. You end up dropping everybody except Pooh Shiesty and I think Fujiano.
Yeah, do you think Fujiano is after this gonna stay with 1017? What do you think his reaction is gonna be?
I don't know. If I was Fujiano, I mean, I don't know the type of conversations him and Gucci have, but if I knew that my CEO wife had stepped up and took upon the role of running shit, then I would be asking to be released out of my contract.
Well, and the snitching thing too.
And the snitching thing too, yeah, that too. So it's in black and white, so we'll see. I think Foo finna get ready to come home real soon. So we'll see.
Well, he is coming home right at the end of the year.
Okay, yeah, so yeah.
I think so. I just seen a post about it.
Yeah, so we'll see how that play out. If Foo, the type of person that he say on those songs, then he'll be leaving 1017 too when he get home.
Now, I know you've had the serious Dolph case in the past. And you were facing life in prison. If you were Pooh Shiesty, what type of deal would you take up to how many years before you would fight it?
Oh, wow. In Pooh's situation, what would I take? If I felt like they had me, dead to the right or whatever, I would, I'd say a 15.
Anything more than 15, you're taking to the box.
Yeah, you got to consider going all the way. And it depends on your age too. So with Pooh, they're a little he a little younger, so he might have a little more leeway as it relates to, or a little more room as it relates to how much time that he would be willing to take. Someone of my age, I'm 46. You get to go on too high. That's almost a life sentence. So, it's only so far you could go with a person that's up in age.
Well, that's what the fans are saying. Take it all the way and make Gucci get on that stand and make him point out Pooh Shiesty.
I don't think they'll ever see that day that Gucci will get on the stand. Like, I think if his wife did play a part in the arrest, I don't think she would want to put her husband in the line of fire or put him on the hot seat, so to speak, and have him on trial in front of the world. I don't think she would want that. Hopefully she wouldn't if she cared anything about her husband.
For real. Because he would be a bigger snitch than 6ix9ine.
Yeah, he would be legendary.
Because 6ix9ine, nobody really believed he was a real street dude.
Yeah, 6ix9ine was a real street dude. Shout out to 6ix9ine. He just came home the other day. And Gucci would be considered a legendary
snitch.
Informant. You know, he'll go down in the Hall of Fame if he took the stand. Especially after all the videos and shit he done made saying that he'll never rat, never tell. But here we are today.
But here we are, man.
See, one thing about, I got some homeboys in Atlanta that I rock with, tough, Ghost. But for the most part, man, them in Atlanta that's in entertainment, them niggas ain't right. T.I., rat, Gunna, rat, Gucci, rat, Thug, rat, Woody, rat. God damn, man, I think 50 just said he finna do a documentary only in Atlanta. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Now, I think I heard you say that Woody called you when you broke the news about Pooh Shiesty robbing Gucci?
Nah, so I said he should have called me. He didn't. He went instead of calling me, he went online and made a rant and started saying, he said, you Memphis that's down there laughing and hating on Gucci, yeah, when we catch you. We're gonna get you, yeah. They gonna do something to you when we catch you. And so, of course, as you know, and everybody else know that I was the only person from Memphis to speak on that. And so I snatched it because I knew he was talking about me. And instead of calling him like he could have did me, I addressed it the same place where he said the shit about me online. And he just couldn't take it. He ain't used to no Memphis getting on his ass. That's why he done took this tail. And like the hoe he is. And so, matter of fact, DJ Academics, I was talking to Act day before yesterday, and Act reached out to Woody and called him. And Act and Charleston White, they had set the fight up, for us to get a bag to get in their ring and go gladiator style. And he told Act, he said he'll fight anybody but me. Woody know I know he a hoe. And Woody know that if he ever get in the ring with me, I'ma take and snatch what little reputation he got left. I'ma snatch it. And all this internet shit, all of that shit gonna be over with. Cause if he ever get in the ring with me, I'ma kick the mental health meds out his ass, Cam.
Have you ever met Woody? Have you guys ever crossed paths?
Nah, we done been on FaceTime a few times. We ain't, yeah.
He'll box anybody but you. That's what he's saying. So he's ducking the fade.
Yeah, he done heard. He know what's up. He know my he know how I get down. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And he done done some research. I'm sure he done reached out to a couple people and they told him, yeah, I've been kicking niggas' ass since Elvis painted the Cadillac paint. Woody don't want no parts of this shit. Woody don't do no breaking cars and steal hubcaps and rims and shit off cars and shit. That's all. That's what he a professional. Woody, you ain't seen Woody box online when he was on YouTube?
I did see the little boxing video.
Yeah, if Woody ever come to any ring and box me like that, his ass gonna need some wires in his mouth.
Man, okay. I wanted to go touch on this 50 Cent documentary you were talking about. So, because I haven't heard this. I've heard he's making documentaries, but I haven't heard about this.
Yeah.
Only in Atlanta documentary.
Yeah, when he was just trolling Gucci the other day. He said, "Damn Gucci, I thought you was smoking on Pookie Loc, but here it is. You know what I'm saying? You making statements." And he said, documentary coming soon, only in Atlanta.
Oh.
Yeah, that's still on his page right now.
That would be wild. and he went around and he went through everybody's paperwork from Atlanta, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I believe Academics is the one that's saying Ratlanta.
Yeah, Ratlanta. Damn, I ain't heard that. That sound like some act of Charleston White will say.
Man, okay. All right, so man, I was gonna change and just get on to some more current events. I also wanted to, I know you beat your case, so I wanted to touch on that a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I seen right now, man, LeBron James says he feels weary when visiting Memphis and finds it boring, and that he doesn't like playing in Memphis or Milwaukee, and said the Grizzlies should move to Nashville. Did you see that?
Yeah, I seen it, and I done had conversations about it. And as far as moving to Nashville, I could see someone saying it because of the crime in Memphis, that we have. Right now, Trump just, we got the Homeland Security, National Guards, and all of that shit in Memphis to try to help with the crime, because the YNs they basically had took over the city. And so maybe he's saying that from that aspect or whatever. As far as the boring comment, that's true. It ain't shit to do in Memphis. I'm from there, so I'm gonna keep it G. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think he was dissing Memphis like on no racist type shit. How people was trying to twist it or whatever.
But people were saying because there's a big black community in Memphis that they were taking it kind of personal because he was telling them to move the team to a more racially diverse place.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it was more so because of that. I think it was more so about the crime. I mean, Stephen A. Smith spoke on it a few months back about, how he had conversations with some very, very talented NBA stars, and they said off the record that they wouldn't like to play in Memphis. And I'm from there, and I get it. I understand. Shout out to the Grizzlies though, but a lot of people don't like to come to Memphis because of the crime. And if you sit up and say that before the National Guards came and the whoever else Trump sent, if you say that Memphis wasn't a very, very violent place, then you in denial. And you gotta respect somebody if they don't want to be in those type of conditions and environment. Like, you can't get upset with them because they speak their mind and say that.
Right. I mean, you can imagine also for like a basketball player who's making millions of dollars,
Yeah.
who's probably driving
the
best cars, and living in mansions,
and got kids, got a family. Don't nobody, shit, I ain't even a celebrity, and I don't even want my kids growing up in Memphis. So, man, I get it. And anybody that's got a problem with it, I think they just so Memphis to the point they just in denial.
Man, well, hopefully the crime will get fixed. And
it's done got a lot better. It's done got a lot better lately, since the National Guards and all of this shit been there. Shit still been happening here and there, but for the most part, you don't see them hot ass Infinities flying up and down the street, people cars and shit getting stole every other minute. Now women can come out in the morning and warm their cars up in peace without being carjacked and shit. That was one of our biggest problems in the city. Like, women were afraid to go to their cars because the young was pulling up with the ski masks and switches and taking their cars.
So the National Guard really helped out a lot.
Hell yeah. Man, when them folks first got there, man, Memphis was like a ghost town. Like, wasn't even coming outside. Like, when they pull you over, like, it's literally on one traffic stop, 6 to 8 cars on one traffic stop. You might have 20 officers surrounding your car on one traffic stop. And the reason why they were doing it, because the young, they don't stop. They don't pull over when the regular blue and white, the officers try to pull them over. So now, since Trump sent everybody, when they pull you over, they have you blocked in from the front, back, and the side, and then you have like 15 to 20 cops standing around your vehicle until they get through with their investigation, stop, or whatever.
Wow. Okay, I didn't even know all this about. I mean, I knew that he sent the National Guard. I didn't know that the National Guard was still there, though.
Oh,
either.
hell yeah, they still there. In blood. Ready for some action.
Ready for some action, man. Okay, and it worked.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because I know Trump was getting a lot of backlash. A lot of people were really against him sending in the National Guard.
I ain't gonna lie, man. The man turned Memphis into South Haven, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Or Olive Branch. Or, you know, he turned it. He did some justice. You know what I'm saying, for the city, especially for the civilians and shit. You know, it's safer. It's safer for people. You know, right now, especially the working class. You know, it's a whole lot safer right now.
Wow. Okay. Now, you know, when I was doing my research for this interview, I found out that, you know, you have a long history just in the music business itself and just being around a lot of famous people and everything.
Yeah.
How did you get into music or around music and get to know everybody? That's pretty hard for a lot of people.
You know, just being in the streets, you know, dealing designer drugs. I was one of the few from my city that had unlimited cough syrup at one point in time. So, you know, I didn't know a rapper at one point that didn't drink cough syrup. So, you know, that's how I built a relationship with a lot of the rappers through that. Me and Flip, you know, we built our brotherhood off of just bumping into each other out of town. And of course, A-Ball and MJG, you know, we from the same neighborhood, you know, we grew up together. So that's how their relationship with them, and, you know, just by being in those places, just coming from that environment and being respected, you know, and just moving around, you know, just politicking. That's how I, you know, got to know a lot of people in the industry.
Okay, so yeah, I seen that you and Little Flip had a really good relationship.
Yeah.
And you built that from that. So you go back to what, 2005, 2004?
Yeah,
somewhere or before then?
Somewhere up in there. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but yeah, it was around that whatever year when we went to the Source Awards, and maybe like a year or two before that or whatever, when we just got when we started to develop our brotherhood or whatever, you know.
So you was going to the Source Awards and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's on my page. Yeah, I was, you know, when he performed Game Over, you know, I was the one standing right behind him, you know, with the Clover G shirt on or whatever. It's on my Instagram page. That was right after the T.I. situation. And T.I. dared us to come to the Source Awards, so we showed up, and he didn't show up. So yeah, I was there. I had the fuck T.I. on the back of my shirt with the big clove on the front. If you can go on my Instagram, you'll see it.
Oh, and T.I. dared you guys to go, because, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, and we showed up in full force, and he wasn't there, so.
Now, I guess you were there when T.I. got into it with Little Flip's crew?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, well, what all happened with that?
Oh, nothing. You know, he came to the city and was, you know, I think he was coming I want to say Bun B party. And he came and went to the radio station and said he was finna go to the Clover and parade around and look for this fake gangster. He was talking about Flip. DJ called Flip from the radio station. DJ he had a relationship with Flip, played it for Flip, let Flip hear it. And we ended up getting Flip to go to the neighborhood, you know, and so we was chilling in the neighborhood for a minute, and just like he said, he ended up pulling up, you know. I think he was with Bun when he pulled up, and when he got out the car, he walked over and just basically said to Flip, like, yo, what up, bro? Like, you know, we need to chop it up, we need to holler. And at that point, you know, Flip didn't want to do no talking, you know, because it was a lot of things that had been said on CD. And so, you know, T.I. just got a little too close. And my partner Capone ended up hitting him in the mouth. And when he hit him in the mouth, she just went left. And he ended up losing some of his jewelry, his Pimp Squad click ring. And we took the ring to Johnny and got it melted down into some clovers, to some medallions. But, you know, T.I., he'll fight. I ain't gonna sit up here and say he a hoe-ass nigga or nothing, but he just a little dude. But he got a little hard, but he just too little. And, but yeah, we had a partner named No Legs in the wheelchair. He ended up shooting the gun in the air in the fight. Everybody scattered, dispersed and shit, and that was the end of it. And so a few days after that, Jay Prince ended up calling a meeting at the compound and to get Flip and T.I. to squash it. And Jay Prince even offered for them to go to the ring because he had a boxing ring at the compound. And T.I. declined. He said that, you know, he if he gonna fight, he ain't want no gloves on. You know, he wanted to, you know, just go how you do in the neighborhood. And so he wasn't willing to get in the ring. And he turned that fade down. But he said he was willing to go without the gloves. I will say that.
Okay, and Jay Prince was able to smooth all this over and make it go away.
Yeah. He simmered it down, you know, for the most part. You know, it wasn't no more violence or whatever, you know. Still throwing little slick little jabs on songs here and there, but for the most part, you know, both sides kept their word with Jay Prince. Jay Prince told them that it was in their best interest to squash it. So they gave him their word that they were.
Now, I seen that Scarface took T.I.'s side during the beef?
Yeah, so when I actually flew in to the source, I met Flip them at the source. I flew in from Memphis. It was in Miami. And when I was getting off the plane, I think Face was coming in the airport like he was finna like bored. And so when he seen me, you know, I didn't know Face didn't know me, but he was looking at me, staring at me because I had the clover on my shirt. And when he seen me, he like, yo, he thought I was from the Clover. And he like, yo, what up, bro? He was like, where that nigga Flip it? I've been trying to holler at him. So, you know, I walked over to Face and I shook his hand and shit. You know, Face was one of my favorite artists growing up, you know, from the Ghetto Boys. So I walked over and hollered at him and I called little bro, I called Flip. And, you know, I kind of stepped off. I was like, man, you know, I'm standing right here with Face. Say he want to holler at you. And Flip was like, tell that nigga I'm in the green room, you know what I'm saying, you know, and which he wasn't, but he just didn't want to talk at the time because, you know, he felt betrayed by Scarface, by Face saying what he said, saying that Flip wasn't from the Clover. And so when I got off the phone with Flip, I told Face, I was like, you know, he in the green room right now, but, you know, you got anything you want me to tell him? He was like, yeah, man, tell bro, I ain't mean no disrespect when I said, you know, that shit about the Clover, you know. I ain't saying he ain't from the Clover. I'm just saying I ain't never seen him in the Clover. And that's what Face kind of was reiterating to me that what he said. But he said, tell Flip, man, my problem with T.I., because I'm up about T.I. taping my phone conversation without my permission. And I told Face, I looked him in the eye and I told him, I said, I'll tell Flip everything you just told me, homie. We dapped it up. He went his way, I went my way. I made it to the source and told little bro what he said. And little bro was just like, you know, ain't hold no weight with him. At that point, he already felt some type of way.
Man, okay. Did they ever work things out, him and Scarface? Did they ever work or do anything?
I don't think they did work together after that, but I'm sure, and I wasn't there, and I don't remember Flip telling me, but I'm sure they done seen each other since then and done had some type of conversation about it, considering they both live in Houston, Texas. So that shit was 20-some years ago. So I'm sure him and Face done seen each other and done had some type of conversation. If they did have a conversation about it, I'm almost certain that the Face was the one to initiate it. Flip sort of non-confrontational when it come to shit like that. He try to, you know what I'm saying, duck that, duck Rick, so to speak. So, but I'm sure they done had some type of conversation about it over the years.
Were you ever around BMF at all?
Nah, not at all. Never.
Do you have like a wildest story being around rappers?
Damn, where you want me to start it? Okay, wild story being around. Well, since we on this subject, one day I was in the Clover, me and BG Duke, and this was when I first started fucking with Flip them. And this was actually one of the situations when I kind of like showed them how I get down. We was in the Clover, me and Duke. Shout out to my boy Duke. And a little young pulled up in the Clover. He was bumping T.I. This was in the height of the beef, in the middle of it. And when he pulled up, jamming, had his little mug on or whatever. He knew Duke. I guess they was on some playing shit, taunting each other shit. But the Memphis shit kicked in. I ended up going to the car, stripping the young, took the CD, broke it, and it made the little leave. So he ended up leaving. We was just chilling. I'm on foreign ground, foreign territory. So we ended up pulling off maybe probably about 5 minutes or so after that, and ended up in a shootout, a high-speed chase on the expressway, me and Duke. And when we made it to the house, we ended up telling Flip about it, and that's when I knew then that that Flip was, he was with a, but he wasn't, I could tell that he wasn't on that type of time, because when they told him what I did, he kind of got a little, he was like, damn, man, like, y'all shouldn't have did that. Y'all should have, man, shut the up, man. Don't nobody want to hear that nice ass shit, you know what I'm saying? Pull up on that T.I. shit at that time. I did what I feel like I was supposed to do.
Are you and Flip still cool? Are you guys have a really good, or had a really good relationship?
Yeah, that was my brother, but right now, we not cool. I just did the Lionel B podcast, and Lionel asked me, could their relationship, brotherhood, be fixed? And just like I told him, I tell you, if that was really my little brother at one point. And even though I felt like he did some sucker shit when I got indicted, if I walked outside right now and see Flip getting jumped, I'ma ride. And I ain't trying to with him right now. I don't want to with him. I got his number. He got my number. But if he reached out to me and showed some accountability in the sucker shit that he did, then of course we could talk. Of course we could get past it, because again, I don't want to see nothing bad happen to bro, even though I ain't with him. If something bad happened to him right to this day, I think I'd be f***ed up about it. But I love the nigga, but I ain't with no sucker shit right now. You know what I'm saying? At this point in my life, I don't halfway do nothing, and bruh just a different caliber type of dude. His moral compass don't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like the average street. Like, it's certain things, certain laws and shit, in the streets that we, you know what I'm saying, adhere to or whatever, and he don't understand it because he never lived that life. I ain't saying, bro, no green ass nothing, but he ain't cut from the same cloth that I'm cut from, or that a lot of like real street cut from. You know, bruh grew up in the church, and ain't nothing wrong with that. And you know, I wasn't blessed to grow up in the church, so a lot of things in the street I picked up at an early age. And you know, he became a rapper at an early age, and he didn't have to do some of the things that I did to survive and put food on the table, and you know what I'm saying, keep yourself straight financially, because he was a rapper. He was talented in, you know, in that sense. So it's a lot of things in the street that Lil Bruh kind of green to, because he never had to go through it.
The thing that really kind of puts you on the map with doing podcasts and everything is young Dolph being killed in Memphis,
Yeah,
and you
sure.
were accused of it. And I know you've vehemently denied having anything to do with this.
Definitely.
How did you first find out that you were being indicted for the murder of young Dolph?
One morning I woke up, dropped kids off at school, saying that I was being followed. And I ended up, they had been following me for a minute, like for months, days. And I go to the gym, I go barbershop, they be following me. So this one particular day, just something felt a little different, because I hadn't been followed in a few weeks. And so when I spotted them, I said, I'm gonna go ahead and do something out the ordinary just to see what type of time they on. And I made an abrupt like turn and all kind of shit the street do in the cars. And when I did that, they showed their hand and let me know what it hit for. So I ended up making it to our neighborhood car wash, Pressure World, with me and MJGB. And when I hit the lot, they just hit the lot from all ways, like 10 cars deep, jumped out on me with every gun they make. And so that's when I knew. That's when I knew that it was serious. And that's when I knew that I wouldn't be coming home that day.
Did you have any idea why they were following you?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. You know, I had already been picked up months prior. They tried to get me to tell some shit that I didn't know. So, you know, they had promised me when they picked me up months prior, it was maybe like 8 months before that, they said I would be indicted in 2 weeks. And that 2 weeks turned into 8 months or whatever. So they kept, you know, they made good of their word. It just took a little longer. You know, when I wasn't indicted, they said I'd be indicted in 2 weeks. When I wasn't indicted this second month, I kind of thought, okay, well, they must have found the truth out. They must, you know that I didn't have anything to do with it. Fast forward to November 2022, and they came with the indictment.
Now, what evidence were they presenting? Because from what I seen, it was only the one piece of evidence that this dude, Cornelius, the guy who ended up cooperating.
Yeah, the pill junkie, cornbread. So for the people who don't know, who ain't so familiar with the case, this situation happened November, I want to say 21st, 2021. I wasn't indicted until a year later, November 2022. It took that sucker a whole year to lay up in the cell and come up with a story that sounded good to the prosecution, which in the prosecution mind, if they indict me, and if I had something to do with it, that I would tell on Juke and Gotti. Well, that theory was so off because I didn't know anything to tell on Juke or Gotti, you know. Never met Gotti in person. And with that being said, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm free, I'm here, and you can't fool God. And that's what I was holding on to. Like, I knew God wasn't gonna allow these people to take my life for some shit I didn't do. And it wasn't no evidence, it was just Cornelius trying to put his crime and his intentions off on somebody that had absolutely nothing to do with it, Anytime a nigga will get on the stand and say that you went and robbed and killed this man on your daughter's birthday because you wanted to get your daughter a gift for her birthday, like, that's some of the most evil and sickest shit that I ever heard and seen in my life. And that's the type of person that can sit up in a cell and make up a story about somebody to try to take them away from their family. And that person ain't did shit, but you just trying to free yourself up. So you'll throw an innocent person in jail for the rest of their life just to try to free yourself up. Like, there was some of the, see him on that stand and tell those lies, the things that he did and try to put them on me. That was some of the most evilest shit. Well, it ain't no some, it was the most evilest shit I ever seen with my own two eyes. There's no way. I don't think I would have been able to sleep getting on the stand and not snitching on somebody, lying on somebody. Getting on the stand and say, hey, Capone asked me to kill Dolph for some money. And I know damn well Cam ain't said that. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. And I would be disgusted with myself, knowing that I done put an innocent person in jail just to try to free myself up.
Man, I hear you, man. That's some pretty, that's pretty evil stuff. And this was the only piece of evidence that they had. They didn't have no phone, texts.
Nothing.
No, nothing else.
Nothing.
Just this one piece of evidence of this guy saying this. And they found that was enough to indict you for what? With conspiracy, right?
They charged me with conspiracy, they charged me with first-degree murder, and they charged me with attempted murder. And I wasn't even on the scene, and they charged me with first-degree murder. They said my actions were the reason that young Dolph was killed based off of what this pill junkie said. Someone that I knew 4 months. Like, I didn't know that clown like that. He was a friend of someone that I used to call a brother. So.
Him and Straight Drop, you only knew a limited amount of time?
No. I knew Drop for a couple years. But this idiot, I only knew him for about 4 months. So, I say all that to say, him getting on the stand and lying on someone that he, barely knows, I ain't gonna say I get it, but, hopefully he wouldn't do that. Well, I wouldn't do it to nobody, but hopefully he wouldn't do that to the friends that he really grew up with, I mean, the nigga I ain't grew up with him. Like I said, I had just met him over a bowl of nachos. So I guess, him doing that to me, it didn't bother him at all or whatever. Because he wasn't a true friend.
I mean, not that this is an excuse, but I guess his excuse for doing this was that the Straight Drop didn't pay him for his half of what he was supposed to get, I guess.
Yeah, but what the I got to do with Straight Drop, though?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't never supposed to give you a wood nickel, a dime. Whatever you and Straight Drop, whatever you say you had going on with Drop, because, I think he lied on Drop too. So, I don't know, but.
Now, you were working with Straight Drop to get him signed to CMG?
Yeah, correct. Yes, sir, I was.
Okay, how did that all come about?
Well, when Drop got out, we both had a partner named Teezy. Rest in peace, Teezy. And Teezy was supposed to be doing like a little record label after our little partner, J Money, Moolah Records. And it kind of like fell to the wayside or whatever. And Teezy was going around saying that he gave Drop a certain amount of money for an advance, which wasn't true. Drop got upset and hollered at me and just was like, one of the labels, it was 2 labels that he was interested in. One was CMG and the other one was he was willing to sign with Gucci or Dirk as well. And so I told him, I told him I'd reach out to Juke for him. I reached out to Juke, told Juke, you know, my little partner had just came home. He was very talented, and his credibility in the streets was through the roof. And so I never will forget Juke was like, man, cuz this better be good. And so, you know, Juke pulled up in the middle of the mound, Orange Mound. And he came over and checked the material out, and he liked it. And so we started discussing, you know, ways to, you know, get dropped, the type of buzz that he needed for Gotti to go ahead and press the button on it and sign him. And so we were just discussing promotions and shit like that. And so that's how that came about. I reached out to Juke for drop to put the deal together.
Now, I seen you knew young Dolph too?
Yeah, I knew Dolph.
How did you meet Dolph, and, you know, how was that navigating between the two of them, the two sides?
Well, I knew Dolph from, you know, when he first got in the game, when he first started rapping, you know, and, you know, because he still had one foot in the streets. So, you know, Dolph liked to smoke the best of weed. I liked to smoke the best. So there was our relationship, you know, just politicking on, you know, marijuana, good smoking marijuana. And so, you know, we wasn't friends of that magnitude where I had a little more of a relationship with Big Daddy, the leader of Paper Route, than I would say Dolph. I done actually been in those rooms with Big Daddy before. And a lot of people know him as Daddy Yo. And I done been in them rooms where we done, you know what I'm saying, we done had that sack in there, you know, and it was all day, all night. And yeah, so Daddy Yo, he a hustler. And I say all that to say that me and Dolph, we weren't the best of friends, but if we seen each other, you know, we would acknowledge each other and speak or whatever. It was always a mutual respect. I always looked at him as a hustler. You know, I ain't never been a big fan of the music, but he definitely was a hustler.
How has this affected your relationship with PRE?
I mean, I didn't have a relationship with PRE. I had a relationship.
Or with the main dude. You call him
Daddy O.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Daddy O been moving how he been moving, so you know we done passed a couple messages or whatever, but we ain't had a chance to bump into each other. I done bumped into some of the main Paper Route guys since I've been out. I bumped into Yo Diddy and a couple other the homies from Castalia and at my cousin party, and it was business as usual. Yo Diddy been knowing me since grade school, and wasn't nothing brought up. You know, I feel like it wasn't mentioned because I think Yo Diddy know the real me, and he know Yo Diddy a hustler. Yo Diddy know I'm a hustler, so I think he know my heart and know that I wouldn't dare do that. Key Weezy, you know, he ain't Paper Route, so to speak, but he well respected over there in that area, and they fuck with Key Weezy, and I fuck with Key Ward, and you know, I've seen Key Ward a million times, and we ain't never had that conversation. Key Ward know me as a person, and I think the respect is mutual, and so with that being said, you know, I done bumped into a few dudes from over there that got blood, sweat, and tears in that shit, and it was just business as usual, another day.
You know, man, I mean, they've made videos about this, about the wars that have broken out after Dolph was killed, which was, you know, it's pretty wild to see. So I mean, you know, I don't know, they're just videos. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know if it was true or was not true, or, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's been pretty wild. That's what I can say.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. It's been a lot of stuff going on. It's been some shit going on that ain't hit the internet, that ain't hit YouTube like that, you know. So it ain't as one-sided as it looks. You know, things been going on. I'll say that.
you and Jook were good friends, you know, and you got picked up first. And how come you think Jook didn't get picked up if they were accusing Jook of the same thing, with probably the same evidence?
With more evidence.
More evidence.
Yeah. So the reason, I think it was strategic. I think they picked me up and arrested me, and the intentions, the plan was to apply as much pressure as they could on me, thinking that I would, know something to tell, and give up everything.
Right, because Jook, he got the money.
Yeah.
So if they pick him up,
they know
he's bringing the best lawyers
they know
there is
to
the court case.
They know.
Versus someone like you,
for sure.
You might not have them type of resources.
Exactly. Again, I've been a hustler my whole life, but I ain't have no millions of dollars like Gotti and like them. So, if they would have indicted Jook, Gotti would have emptied the bank.
Put up the house.
He would have emptied the bank about his big brother, and rightfully so. But again, I didn't have those resources, so the plan was to get me. I had William Massey as my attorney. It's my longtime attorney, been with me since I was 18. Unfortunately, we parted ways on this case. I seen some things that I don't necessarily care to repeat, because I got love for Massey, so to speak, but I'll say if I kept Massey and didn't hire Manny Aurora, I have 3 life sentences right now. It was a situation where it was almost I was being handed to the government. So with that being said, that's the reason why they didn't get Jook, because they knew he was gonna make whatever bond that they offered. He was gonna have the best legal team, one of the best legal teams in the world. And so with that being said, they wanted to get me and wanted for me to tell everything, something that I didn't know. And if their plan actually worked, then, they would have been in a good situation, because they would have been able to indict Jook. And, and I guess their plan was thinking, hopefully, if they indicted Jook, then maybe he would tell on his brother. So I don't, with that being said, I don't think that would have ever happened. If Jook was guilty of that crime, I don't think he would have did anything to hurt his brother.
Now, right before the trial is set to start, they offer you a deal?
Yeah. They offered me 10 years. It was a little higher. It was 20, went to 15, then it went to 10 at the last minute. And listening to my son, he convinced me to go ahead and take it, because he was his whole mindset was he could risk losing me for 3, 4, 5 years versus me going to trial losing and potentially getting life. Because it is some innocent people that's in prison that, that's locked up for the rest of their life for things that they didn't do. They get released every other day, it makes breaking news. Such and such been exonerated, locked up 20-some years, DNA proved them not guilty, and all of this weird ass shit, so I didn't want to become one of those people. I just made a business decision, considering some of the things that I seen in the discovery. I seen shit in the discovery. I seen phone conversations, like calls, not like actual taps or whatever, but I seen phone data where these people were able to make it look like that me and Drop had communicated on dates after when we got into it on my birthday in Atlanta. And we had no communication after that. And so when I seen that, I got kind of worried. I was like, if they'll go that far to basically fabricate some paperwork, I felt like I stood a chance of losing, even though I was innocent. So I just made a business decision to take the 10. I already had a year on it. I could have went and did anywhere from 4 to 5 more years and been home. if you can't do 4 or 5 years in jail, then you need to be a deacon, a priest or something. So I made a business decision. I was ready to roll. I was gonna go and knock it out. That way I could get back to my son, my autistic son. And luckily for me, Dolph mama and them, they said no. They wasn't accepting it. It was too low. And that's the best gift I ever received in my life.
Yeah, man, that's kind of crazy how that worked out. The family had that much influence over the DA to where they said, well, the family's not accepting that.
Yeah.
Man, and then you end up beating the case, man. That is such a huge blessing.
Yeah.
It's kind of, man, sometimes life just works out in the craziest ways, man.
Definitely.
I mean, man, you was taking 10 and you was like happy about it. Like, it, I'm gonna do 10. At least I'm not gonna do life. They're accusing me of murder that I didn't do, but I'm gonna do this 10. And then it turns out to, damn, I might do life again. And then you turn out to where you walking out free man. I mean, man, yeah, that's like, that's like some, some TV movie stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's finna be some TV movie stuff. Yeah, shout out to Whack 100. We got some on the way. Some cooking up. With my attorney gonna be involved.
Talk about the roller coaster ride though, emotionally, bro.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
One minute you're celebrating, the next minute you're fucking pulling your hair out. The next minute you're celebrating.
Hey, bro,
goddamn.
I don't roll a lot of roller coasters at the fairs and at the amusement park. That's one roller coaster I don't never want to get on again in a day in my life, Cam. Man, that shit was just a up and down. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to sleep at night, knowing that it's a possibility that I could leave my autistic son for the rest of his life. I was more concerned about him than I was me. And I had made it, I think I made it up in my mind that, if they did convict me for something that I didn't do, I lived a great life. I've been all around the world. I got my fair share of kids. So, I would have been able to, I wouldn't have wanted to, but I would have had to live with it. But what bothered me the most is being away from my son and having to see my autistic son from behind bars for the rest of my life. I wasn't too fond of that idea.
Yeah, man, I can understand that for sure. That would suck, man. Well, one of the most surprising things when I was doing my research is they found the car across the street from your house.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, again, Cornelius. I met him on that street. I met him through someone that I used to call a brother. He's deceased now. He died of an overdose, but he lived on that street with me as well. Bobby, his name was Bobby. And we both grew up on that street since birth. And he was Cornelius' friend. So Cornelius knew about the abandoned house. He knew about different little houses on the street that did certain things or whatever. So he had he was very familiar with that street as well. And so for whatever reason, he decided to park the car over there at that abandoned house. As long as I've been in the streets, Cam, I don't know if you ever been in the streets, ever been a criminal or what, that ain't my business. But even if you haven't been in the streets, I'm sure you're smart enough to know that I've been in the streets long enough that ain't no way in hell I'm gonna agree with nobody to park a car that you just used in a high profile murder across the street from where I see a dope head.
All over the news. That car's all over the news.
Ain't no way I'm gonna agree to that under no circumstances. I wouldn't give a if you had the same AK that Gucci Man had to his head to my head. I'm not agreeing to that. So anybody that knew me, like I still get people right to this day saying, when they found their car across the street from my spot, that let them know right then that I had nothing to do with it. Because if I was in on that drill, ain't no way that motherfucking car would have been right there.
Did you ever, like, okay, so you're seeing the news, and then all of a sudden this car is parked across the street.
I ended up putting
Did you see it, and were you like,
I put it together.
Is that the fucking car?
Yeah, I put it together.
That was used? No way.
Yeah, I put it together. And that's when I started calling, I started calling every motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, what's up? Who the fuck, what's going on? You know, motherfuckers was stuttering, not answering the phones, and, you know, all kind of weird ass shit, you know, so, yeah, you know, that was crazy, but, yeah. Everybody acted like they didn't know what the fuck was going on when I started going off about this car across the street from where I sell dope at.
Oh, okay, so I didn't know this. So you started going off online about this?
No, not online. I start calling Cornelius bitch ass. You know what I'm saying? You know, because I knew he had something to do with it. Because the night that I called Juke over to listen to the music, he was the one to come knocking on the door, asking, did Juke and them want to do something about his brother getting shot at? And I never knew, I never heard it at that point, that Gotti his truck had been shot up. And I told Cornelius when I came out on the porch, I told him he didn't know what he was talking about. I said, I done heard of Dolph being shot at and shit like that. And to my surprise, he knew what he was talking about. Because when I went back in the house, I ain't say nothing to Juke about it because I didn't want to run Juke off from the music deal. My main concern was trying to get out the streets and get drop signed to this deal so me, him, and my brother could, you know, get out the streets. And when Juke was leaving, that's when Cornelius came from across the street from at Miss Ruby's house. And that's when he asked Juke, what's up? Y'all ain't trying to do nothing about Dolph trying to, you know, kill your brother? And I thought Juke was gonna be like, man, boy, ain't nobody did shit to my brother. And to my surprise, Juke looked over at me and was like, cuz, who it is? I said, man, that's my little partner Bobby. That's his little homie Steven across the street. And Juke was like, man, how you know that? And that's when he said Dolph had a cousin or an aunt that lived over on South Wall where he was from, and said Dolph had been bragging on the drill when he sent the car. They caught Gotti on Winchester and let off about 40 to 60 rounds. But Gotti was bulletproof. So didn't nothing happen.
Man, you know, that's whew. Yeah, man. It seems like, you know, both of those guys had bulletproofs. I think the same thing happened to Dolph too. I think in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I think it happened to him too over there.
Yeah, he was in the scrum.
They tried to kill him and he had a bulletproof car or truck.
Yeah.
Or somebody did. I don't know who did. But, you know.
Yeah, Dolph. Yeah, Dolph. He did. Mm-hmm.
Man. Okay. Do you know what caused the problems between these guys? Was it really just like, man, like y'all, that Dolph didn't want to sign with Gotti? Like, that's so crazy.
That wasn't the, you know what I'm saying? That was the issue. It wasn't an issue with Gotti per se, you know what I'm saying? When he tried to sign Dolph, when Dolph, you know, declined, you know what I'm saying, to sign or whatever, Dolph didn't just decline. Dolph went on I guess what you call it, a media run, and just started talking bad about Gotti. Started telling, you know what I'm saying, how he was talking down on his own artists to him and tried to sign him and things like that. So I think that kind of rubbed Gotti the wrong way. But the issue, I think, and a lot of people, valid people, credible people, think Gucci played a role in it, a major role. You know, Gucci fueled that beef between Dolph and Gotti. You know, Gucci made Dolph hate Gotti more than he actually did, because Dolph was a loyal friend. You know, he was a friend of Gucci's, and you know, I think Dolph, for the most part, you know, like me, if he with you, he with you. So, yeah, I think that beef was more so fueled by Gucci, and Gucci had that battery in Dolph back.
Well, now that all this is over, and you've made it through this, you came out unscathed. Are you worried that not everybody believes that you're innocent? Are you worried that somebody might try to come after you or do something to you?
The environment I come from, we don't worry about things like that. It's second nature. Shit could have been happening to me 30-some years ago. I mean, I'm from that environment. So you get numb to certain things. So stuff that would have the average person scared to go outside and not doing things that they need to do because of, it's different with me. Those type of things don't bother me. I face them head on if it's an issue. I ain't ducking nothing but some bad pussy.
I hear that, man. Well, I'm glad you made it out, man. I'm glad that it worked out for you.
For sure. Appreciate it, bro.
Congratulations on everything, on your success. And, now you're doing podcasting and, you're definitely a face out here, man. So, that's dope.
And to hear that coming from you, that's motivation, because you one of the people that I study, and get, I whatever you put down, I pick up, if I feel like, it could help benefit me or whatever, because like I told you, I've been following your platform for even before I got in this YouTube space, and, you always had some good content, and I knew that before I ever thought that I would be doing content, you know what I'm saying? And I follow you, Vlad, No Jumper, and Seti, some of them, I'm a big hip hop guy, so, and to actually be on your show now and to, be talking to one of my favorite guys from YouTube, it's a surreal feeling, a lot of people don't know how big you really are, because you're so humble with it. But, I know, and, it's a blessing to be here, and hopefully I get a chance to sit down with you again.
Yeah, that would be dope. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, man. Dope content, dope interview.
Man, for sure, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for having me, man. And if you would be so kind, let me announce my platform to your supporters and followers. They can catch me on Instagram, Hernandez Govan 23. It's HERNANDEZ Govan GOVAN 23. The same YouTube, same on Facebook. But just check me out, give me a chance. I got some good content, and I be checking the shit out of motherfuckers too. So follow my content.
Yeah, check him out, man. You just interviewed Charleston White, right?
Yeah. I'm finna interview him again tomorrow.
See, there you go, man.
Yeah, that's my guy. Shout out to Charleston, man. He looking out for me, Charleston. He a real OG in the game, man. And he wanna see me win. So I fuck with him.
Well, that's what's up, man. That's if Charleston White is with you,
because he don't fuck with too many people.
Yeah, that and that's a good he got a lot of success, so he holds a lot of weight out here.
Yeah, for sure. So,
all right, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Cam 100.
All right, bro. For sure. What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon, so hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.